She is an ICF or International Coach Federation certified life coach, a psychological counselor, a Les Brown certified speaker and trainer, the CEO of Cactus Consulting. She conducts workshops and coaching for individuals and groups. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer engineering from NSIT Delhi, an MBA from Amity Business School, a master's degree in psychology and a diploma in psychological counseling from Indian Institute of Counselling. As a proprietor of Cactus Enterprises, a distributor of Indian Oil Corporation, a Fortune 500 company, she represented distributorship on chairman level twice. The distributorship had been the highest seller to the commercial establishments under her guidance. Apart from conducting workshops and sessions, she assists voluntarily in projects of Indian Institute of Counselling and Disabled War Veterans India. By following yoga and meditation, she has experienced drastic change in her thought process, reactions, and the way she sees the environment around her. She strongly believes in I am the change. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome to our show, Manju Chhabrra.
Thank you so much for a wonderful voice and for a wonderful intro.
Thank you very much, Manju. Thanks a lot. And I need to thank you because you took time to come here for this short interview. Thanks a lot. Let me start with your ICF, or those who do not know what is ICF. ICF stands for International Coaching Federation, which is one of the biggest body when it comes to coaching. And that was your very recent achievement. Why did you go, or what was your intention for ICF? Why you had a lot of other credentials with you and you're qualified, your experience, then why still you went for ICF?
That's a wonderful question, Farookh. And I'm very happy that you took it up because I wanted to talk about it. Mm-hmm. ICF is a body which is actually a credential that you're worth it. So when somebody is going to place his life, life means that particular, he has to get over something or he wants to do well in life. Mm-hmm. And he looks up to somebody who can take him out of that particular environment or that particular situation which he's going through. Mm-hmm. So he looks for credentials. Mm-hmm. And though I have experience, I've worked on myself where I can say that I can help people. Mm-hmm. But obviously those things help you to go to those kind of people who are looking for these kind of credentials. Here I would like to quote an incident. Mm-hmm. I met somebody and I told them that I'm a life coach and I have degrees in psychology. Mm-hmm. So he said, but I know a friend and he wants to know, are you a certified coach or not? Mm-hmm. And that was the time when I was in the process. I had not completed it. Mm-hmm. And it made my mind tick, yes, yes, it is required. And also if I have to go and get coached by somebody, mm-hmm. I would look for those kind of credentials.
Absolutely. Yep.
And when we talk of quality and we talk of, like if I want to ride a plane, I want to go to the best airlines, right?
Yep.
If I talk of car, I want to go to the best car.
Yep.
If I talk of clothes, I want to wear that. So when I want to be coached, I have to look for those credentials. And I find that it is all right to do that. Mm-hmm. That was the reason I went for ICF.
So let me congratulate you for your very latest achievement. I saw your certificate and I was really proud of you.
Thank you so much. I receive it.
Now, we have different types of coaches. You have the life coach, you've got the transformation coach, you've got the executive coach, success coach. What do you brand yourself?
I started with empowerment. Mm-hmm. That word is very close to my heart. Mm-hmm. However, people say I'm a spiritual coach. Mm-hmm. So I will have to redefine that. But at the moment, I would like to stay with empowerment as a word.
Is coaching something which is very essential for a growth of a person, whether it is mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally? Because today in the part of the world that we come from, coaching is not yet being that popular like we see in the Western world right now. because people think coaching is something like consulting, or it could be like counseling, etc. So my question to you is, how important is coaching in one's life to grow and develop and excel?
A wonderful question. And it is a question which would help others also to understand coaching into a right perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching, as you mentioned, is actually not like counseling and mentoring.
Yep.
Or either therapy, right?
Yep.
Coaching help, I would say it is for a niche wherein somebody wants to upgrade himself or uplift himself, and he needs somebody to, find, make him grow out of that particular situation and look at himself from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. Coaching believes that we have the coachee, the person you're coaching, he's known as a coachee.
Yep.
He has everything inside him. Mm-hmm. You just have to do probing or, be a catalyst or be a person who's around and helps him to come out of his, to realize his own potential. And like you have coaches for sports. Let's take that example. Mm-hmm. Now, somebody who's already good in sports, let it be football. Mm-hmm. So he's there, but he needs that particular skill set which has to be harnessed, out of him. And the coach can see it, while the same player may not be able to see him that place. So that's the difference. So coach can see him and understands that he has a potential, while the person himself may not be able to see that part of himself. So that's where the coaching is effective.
Wow. Manju, I want you to go back in your life where you didn't see a blind spot, but there was a coach who found the blind spot and said, that's the area where you have to develop.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I used to speak. I used to, guide people. And once I got into once I went for getting coached. Mm-hmm. So during the coaching session, I understood that it is there in me, and it gave me belief that I can go ahead for myself to first change my line. I'm an engineer actually. For me to take up this particular profession and at this age was, I had doubts initially. But then here, during this coaching session, it made me believe that yes, I could go ahead. I have those skills. I have that thirst and that hunger to change myself and take the risk of coming into a different line altogether and do justice. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Wow. You said that you by profession, you're an engineer. Now, I knew somebody who was a doctor. She was a doctor, in fact, and she worked as a physician for around about 15 years. And after 15 years, she found out that that's not her passion. She left that, got into coaching, got into leadership development. Today, she travels around the world. She has written a book which is called Intentional Parenting. She's from Australia. Now, going back to the same thing, was engineering your passion? Or was it after a certain time that you realized that that's not where you want to go? That's the wrong road, or that's not the road that gives you that sort of pleasure and satisfaction. And then you moved into coaching and speaking. What made you change or the shift? Or are you still as an engineer and taking this as a side route, or what is it?
Wow. Wonderful. It takes me down the memory lane. And engineering was more of a choice that, in the family, my father wanted me to be an engineer. Mm-hmm. And, we like simple children, I was like very timid, and whatever my dad will say, I'll just follow that. So I took up engineering, and it was a proud thing for him, and that made me happy. Mm-hmm. So I did my engineering, and it helped me everywhere in my business also. When I joined Cactus Enterprises, which is a distributorship of Indian Oil Corporation. Mm-hmm. So yes, I got a lot of appreciation of being an engineer and conducting my things. It helped my logical brain to develop, and I looked at things differently as compared to others. So that was a good foundation which I got.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point of time, it was like, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Mm-hmm.
where my heart lies.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something different. And I want to make difference in people's life. So that's where, and it took me about 5 to 7 years to take that step ahead and leave that behind and get into educating myself into the stream and go ahead. It was a big decision, and I really took a lot of years. Looking back, I feel I should have done it much earlier. Yes.
Wow. Manju, there are a lot of people in the world who are stuck with something they don't enjoy at all. They have some sort of passion, but they're not able to go and follow their passion. It could be a lot of reasons. It could be family reason. It could be financial reason, a lot of reasons, but still they're stuck in something they are not interested in, whereas they have the potential, the hidden potential within them. Either they haven't identified it, or number two, they know that I have this potential, but they don't make use of it. What would you talk to the young generation who are stuck in that particular area where they are not able to develop themselves, but there's a high scope when they take out their potential and grow and excel, like what you have done in your life?
Wonderful. This particular subject is very, very close to my heart, and I intend to take up this with schools, and this is what will be one of my focus area. I have a teenage daughter who is now in 12th standard, and I see her and her friends struggling all along. They're doing something which they don't agree with, but because of parental pressure, and they don't want to explore other things. I feel that they have to be empowered enough. We as parents, our role is to empower them. And also our education system. They have to have that kind of structure, which I am not challenging them, but they have to have that structure where the children are empowered enough to take a decision and go forward and do what they would like to do. So how can we approach them and how we can help them is, yes, through speaking engagements, through, yes, YouTubes, but there has to be a fire inside them. Until and unless they have a fire, we can't do anything about it. We can't get scum to our environment. We have to be seeking. Only if you seek, you will find. If I'm just comfortable in my uncomfortable zone, how will I go ahead? So for anybody to come out of that well or that shell, that fire has to be there. So it is the preparation and the opportunity. So if you're prepared to move and the opportunity is there, you can go ahead.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have the desire or if you don't have the preparation, nobody can help you. So I can urge, or I would ask the young generation to believe in themselves, not be in a space of victimhood, that I'm a victim of surrounding. But because they're young generation, they have the energy, they have the whole future in front of them, right? So they have to have that fire that, yes, I can do it. They have to have that self-belief. Opportunities are immense. They are there.
Wow. Now let me take you from ICF. Let me keep the ICF away. Now let's talk about Les Brown. What made you travel all the way to the United States to being coached, trained, and mentored by Les Brown?
Wow, nice. It was a turning point in my life. I have been a vivid reader. And when I used to read these help books, I used to feel that why is not there an institute which teaches us, because I was seeking for somebody to coach me, to train me, to go out and talk as a motivational speaker and, to train people. And Mr. Brown, I had been listening to him since 2008. And his voice It's not over until you win. Oh gosh, it used to give me a lot of charge, you know. I still remember I used to put on his cassette. We had cassette recorders that time. And I used to drive and I used to just listen to this. And I was like pepped up, all ready for the day, you know. So, and I used to always find out, John Maxwell had his trainings, and Robin Sharma had his trainings, and you know, Tony Robbins, everybody had his training. So Mr. Brown didn't have something like this, and somehow his voice, it touched my heart, and I used to keep on finding, you know, how come he doesn't have an institute? And it was in November when I saw it happening. And I was like, is it really true? I refreshed my Safari and I again logged in and again saw, I said, is it? And then I got into a dialogue with Carlos. He was there that time. And I was so excited. I got in touch with Shraddha and it went on and on, you know. So that was where, you know, I was very excited because that was a dream come true. I actually used to think that something like that should exist and I'll be the one over there. It happened. I got enrolled myself. And yes, it's been a wonderful learning for past less than a year now. But yes, it's been wonderful interacting with people like you and so many of them, having calls. It's been it was a turning point in my life because a lot of things I learned over here.
How did it change you as a person?
I was waiting for that question. So it was during that 3-minute story. Yeah, we are supposed to record that story and upload. So I was writing the script. And I wanted to appear like, you know, I had a tough childhood, which I had, but, you know, I was trying to get some emotions out of it. And I wanted to appeal to people that if I can do it, you can do it. But Farookh, you know what? While I was writing it and when I was practicing it, it didn't gel. I mean, there was some mismatch. And I must have written my own story, I don't know, maybe more than 25 times. And every time it was different. And when I used to speak, I could see that I was not connecting with my heart. And later on, with a lot of introspection, I realized it was not a setback. Actually, it was a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely.
And that was the aha movement of my life. And that is the biggest take which I have from Les Brown Institute. My whole perspective of life changed. And I felt that, you know, a rose has to be in a garden and it needs that particular fertile soil and that temperature and that sunshine to become a rose.
Exactly.
A sunflower needs similarly a different environment, right? A cactus would need different environment.
Sure.
So for me to become what I am, that particular environment was so necessary. And once I realized it, you won't believe, Faroukh, my whole perspective of life, I mean, I was so grateful. There was a sense of gratitude for everything in my life. It was quite fulfilled, I would say. Amazing things happened after that.
Wow. You said that you are grateful. What are the 3 things, very specific, that you are grateful for?
I'm grateful for whatever happened with me till now. I'm grateful for my future because I have faith in it. I'm grateful that I'm under the divine power and I believe in it.
Wow. Moving from Les Brown, let me take you to somewhere else. You are into yoga, you are into meditation. How all these things are blending together into one human being, one body, one soul?
It's a wonderful recipe, I'll say. It's a wonderful recipe, I think, which is happening. And you know what? I'm a free flow now. I just accept whatever comes. And I believe everything is for a reason.
Yep.
So when yoga came into my life, I had some physical ailment for which I tried a lot of medical treatments, and it didn't work out as I wanted to be. So I ventured into yoga. And when I was going through these asanas, right, what we do, I found that meditation is...
To those who do not understand the word asana, asana means postures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So when I was doing these postures, how meditative they are, and when you combine these two things together, the physical being and the spiritual meditation, I believe you're into a different world. A lot of things inside opens up, right? And this helped me to discover myself, my capabilities, and I found it was not physical which I was suffering from. It was all emotions which I had held back. It was all that frustration. It was all that anger. It was all that, when I said I am full of gratitude, that is there. But what all I had done before that, all that was inside me. Yeah. And I didn't know how to come out of it. So that release which took place was only through meditation and these physical postures which I went. And I started venturing out. My mind opened, my heart opened, and I went for a pilgrimage. So every step which I took after that always demonstrated that I am into a different zone. I'm opening up to the life, to the people, how my environment is making me into a different person. When I say my reactions changed, it was that I started receiving them without judging them, without any emotional, negativity. So it all came inside me, and that led to calmness, which is what we all look at.
Absolutely.
So I opened up my mind, my heart, and I was able to sail through a lot of things, and it instilled a lot of confidence and belief in myself and the divine power around us.
Wow. Manju, when can the world see a book from you?
I've been thinking about it for past 8 months. But I have gone through so many transitions, and I feel I'm absolutely ready now. So maybe in few months, I should be coming out with book.
What would the subject all about be?
I usually, I'm also coming out with my course very soon, and that will be in understanding yourself. I believe that one has to understand what's keeping you back from moving forward. So what are the obstacles?
Yep.
So one has to understand his own self, and how to come out of it is what I can help out with. So I feel I need to empower the other person who's there in front of me to take his life forward. So empowerment is something which I would like to work on. And it is physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So these are the angles which I would like my course to be based on. And after launching this course, I'll get my book out also.
Wow. So it would be like a training manual and a training.
Yeah, it will be a training manual, yeah. Yes.
Good. People, they don't like advice. I'm a guy, I don't like advice. I don't know why. I don't advise, and I don't like advice because we are adults. So therefore, what would be the powerful 3 questions that you would ask the audience to ask themselves that could empower them to move ahead? What would be those 3 powerful questions? Not an advice, but a question
Yeah,
they need to ask
absolutely.
themselves.
The first question I would like to ask the audience is, where do you want to go? Which means, where do you see yourself after 5 years? If they have everything they want with them, which means if I don't have money, and I feel that if I had money, I would have been this. So assume that you have everything what you wanted in life. So where do you see yourself 5 years hence? That's my first question. Number 2, if today is my last day of my life, and God asks me, or the divine power asks me, that if I give you another 5 years, what would you do? So what will be your answer to those questions? What do you want to become in life? When I say what do you want to become in life, my actual question is, how would you contribute in life of others? These are my 3 questions.
Wow. If you get an opportunity to question me where you are sitting in my place and I'm there where you are right now, what would that question be to me?
Okay. So I would like to know, what do you want to be known as?
For me, I want to be known as a father, a very good husband, a very good teacher. And the reason teacher is very much attached to me, that's why my name itself is Sensei. Sensei means teacher. So I like to be known that.
What makes you feel that you should be a teacher?
Because a teacher for me is a leader. A teacher is the one who knows the way. I'm just borrowing what John Maxwell often says, that he knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So I borrowed that and put that into as a teacher, because a teacher is the one who shows the way to the students. And that's exactly what I like to do. Rather than being a CEO of an organization or to be known as something else, as a champion or whatever it is, the best thing that I like to be known as a teacher.
So what if you are not if you are not a teacher, what would you like to be in that? I mean, what would you like to be instead?
Teaching has always been my passion, and I looked teaching in everything. You don't have to have the title as a teacher, but still you can be a teacher when you get an opportunity to teach somebody without a book. So you don't have to be technically a teacher. Even if you don't have to advise, even if you lead somebody with example, you don't have to teach. You can become an example. When you become an example, you become the leader, you become the teacher, because people will say, look at Manju, learn from her. It's not necessary that you have to go and teach with a chalk or a pencil or a board or a whiteboard, nothing. You just have to be an example. And coaches, leaders, teachers, they are the examples.